Even Stephen. Man, I wish those boys would learn to be more tidier and clean up after themselves, Stephen muttered as he moved the mats into the storeroom. He goes to grab his stuff to leave, but comes to a stop when he hears grunts outside. Stephen grabs a broom and starts shuffling towards the window to get a look outside. He cannot see anyone, so he slowly peers out the door, trying to make no sound. Nobody's there. Stephen steps outside, a broom in one hand, ready to strike whatever was out there. Just as he was about to peer around the corner, a flash went off, one that was so bright that it took his eyes time to adjust. "What are you doing, sir?" "No, what are you doing, Noah? You scared the bejesus out of me." "Sorry," Noah replied. "Why are you still here? Class was over hours ago." "I know. I wanted to keep practicing the moves you taught me today. I haven't yet got it down packed, but with a little more practice, I think I will be able to perform it perfectly." "Look, I'm really glad to see you so enthusiastic about class, but rest is also part of practice. Now come on, let's go. I'll drive you home, since it's dark." The two were chatting about tips and tricks on mastering the movements when Noah asked a sudden question. "Sir, what made you want to become a self-defense teacher?" "Oh, Noah, I think you are the first student to ask me that question. I guess it all started when I was about your age. I was a 15-year-old boy on the shorter side and never seemed to sit still, as the teachers would complain on my report card. No matter, I had many assets that made up for that. However, in our school, among the boys especially, there was only one rule: might is right. Yes, our school had a bullying problem that seemed to be too difficult to manage by the adults, so we were at the mercy of the bullies, and I just happened to fit the description of their target. Now, bullies come in every shape, form, looks, personality you can think of, and we had almost every kind. My first bully was this really strange kid that loved to harass people using his bodily fluids. I mean, spitting, rubbing his sweat on people, picking his nose and flicking it at others. He was just gross, and I had the unfortunate luck of sitting next to him in class. Anyways, I became his target because I reported him for harassing one of the girls in the class, and he somehow found out it was me, despite me being discreet. So from then on, he diverted his attention on me. I would find moldy food in my locker that someone clearly shoved inside, worms in my lunchbox, and garbage under my desk. It went on for weeks, until I had enough with him. The one good thing about sitting next to him was that I had found his weakness. One day, during class, we were watching some documentary when a spider came crawling down and landed on the bully's shoulder. One of our classmates behind him let him know about the creature, and he just about leapt from his chair, ramming into the guy in front of him. It looked like it hurt too, but he still scrambled to find his feet and ran out of the classroom. And thus brings me to the present, after I vowed to return the favor with interest. Remember how I said I had some great assets? Well, I was good at making things, electronics, gadgets, stuff like that. I went home that day and made a dozen mechanical spiders and brought them to school the next day. I planted them everywhere, on his table, in his bag. Heck, I even followed him into the bathroom and threw it over the stove and watched him scream for help. Honestly, I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy taunting him, but one day I took it too far. I put one of the spiders on his bike, where there is a cup holder, to give him a nice little scare, but he must have only noticed once he was riding, leading to him losing control and falling down a hill. He survived, but had to get dozens of stitches. Now I want to say I learned my lesson from that, but I didn't. There was another bully that entered into my life shortly after. He was a real popular kid who had good looks, wealth, and status, and he wasn't afraid to flaunt it wherever he went. His most used phrase was, "Do you know who I am?" To which people would cower and back down, letting him have his way. But because I have a talent for putting myself in difficult situations, I did not let him have his way, because my favorite donut shop was selling a new limited edition donut that would only last for a week, and I wasn't about to let him have it. To the bully, I don't think he really cared about the donut, but the fact that I dared to defy him made me his enemy. I was stalked for days after that. I didn't know what to do. That was until I started to notice I couldn't buy any of my favorite things. My favorite comics all sold out. My favorite donuts from the shop all sold out. The new video game that I had saved up for and woke up at dawn to wait in a line sold out. I was livid. I mean, who did this guy think he was? Again, I couldn't let him get away with this. There was something that I too could take away from him. Mr. Popular was always getting yelled at by our PE teacher for taking too long in the bathroom. What was meant to be a quick shower after physical activity was a full shower routine, including shampooing and conditioning his hair. So I took it upon myself to put hair removal cream in Mr. Popular's hair products, and struggled to keep the cleanness of my face from leaking out as I watched him run out of the door. But I was not done with him. Everyone knew exams were starting from tomorrow, and you couldn't get out of it. Not even Mr. Popular. The next day he came to school with a full head of hair, chatting and carrying on like nothing had happened. Some asked him about his screams yesterday, but he just said he saw a spider on the wall. That's why he was screaming. He may have fooled everyone, but I knew better. He was definitely wearing a wig, and I was going to expose him. After exams was over, I made my way over to where he was standing with his friends, acting as natural as I could be. Then I tripped over an imaginary box on the ground and grabbed hold of his wig, completely taking the thing off. The room was silent, their eyes bulging out of people's heads, jaws dropped. The moment felt like an eternity, probably longer for Mr. Popular. Then laughter erupted, and people were taking photos as Mr. Popular ran out of the room. It was essentially a social death for him. Honestly, I felt kind of bad. Did I just ruin a guy's life, I thought? But I mean, he has money, right? He can just move schools. My last bully was your typical rough around the edges kind of guy. By far the scariest out of them all. He was the type to spend most of his time in the gym, and if he wasn't there, then he was up to no good. Every morning before school, he would line people up and tell them to hand over all of their money. Whoever gave the least would get a serious beating, so everyone would always try to bring more than the last person who got beat up. Once in a while, he would even take items from people: watches, rings, hats, even their lunch, which is how I found out his weakness. The bully took a kid's lunch one day and consumed it in just 3 bites. Minutes later, his face was beet red and he was gasping for air. He yelled at someone to get him some milk while he was pacing and hopping around with his tongue out. The guy he stole the food from got a beating, although it wasn't his fault. But thanks to him, I knew what my next plan would be. There were alerts going around about people using counterfeit money, so shops were on the lookout for them. Didn't I tell you I was good at making things? The counterfeit money wasn't for me though. The next day, I brought a wad of cash to school, and just like every other day, the bully was there to take it. I followed him after school to where he was planning to spend the money. As expected, the shopkeeper knew it was fake and called the police, but the bully took off. Luckily, I nabbed his student ID card earlier from his bag and handed it to the shopkeeper. I went home after that wondering if the police would come to school the next day, but I was stopped by a shadow in an alleyway. The bully emerged from the darkness like he materialized from the shadow itself. It was you, wasn't it? What do you mean? The fake money. You set me up, didn't you? I don't know what you're talking about. As I took a few steps back, getting ready to run, but he was one step ahead as he lunged at me. But I somehow managed to dodge it, scrambling to get on my feet. I started rummaging through my bag to find my secret weapon. I told the bully that I would actually pay him the money if he let me go, but he said he didn't believe me as he took a few more steps forward. I promise I won't do it again, I pleaded, but he wasn't listening. Just as he was a few inches before me, I opened the bottle I was holding and threw its contents into his eyes. The bully screamed in agony as he fell to the ground. "What did you do?" he yelled. "My homemade chili spray. Just letting you know, that's going to sting for a while, because I used the hottest chilies I could find." But before he could get up, I took off. The next day, the bully came to school, battered and bruised. There were rumors going around that his father had beaten him for the counterfeit note issue, but that wasn't the only rumor I heard. My first bully, the strange kid, developed an even bigger phobia of spiders and refused to leave his house. The popular bully's videos followed him to the next school and he became severely depressed. That was when it really hit me that what I did was just as bad, if not worse, than the bullies did to me. That is why I wanted to teach self-defense, because back then I wanted to pay them back for the hell they gave me, to get even, and that's exactly what happened. I became them, and I wasn't okay with that. I didn't want to get even anymore. I wanted to get even better.